Hello, human slaves. In our previous broadcast, we discussed the strange phenomena observed in Greenland. The event caused electromagnetic field disturbances that alerted US observation probes active in the area. As you know, Greenland is in the process of being annexed by the US due to its strategic importance for planetary defense. Our enemies know this and are trying to stop this annexation by accelerating their invasion. Portal-based transportation technology is beyond the reach of the Vokons, so their first attempt was a failure. But it deeply worried the countries aligned against the invasion. At least China has resumed talks with the US and appears to be collaborating again on defense projects, although China is far more advanced, linking robotic production to artificial intelligence. So robot production has multiplied, and work in orbit and on the moon is progressing far ahead of other countries. Meanwhile, in India, the Terrestrial Counterintelligence Forces, FIT, found a reptilian double agent, a high-ranking Indian government official, who was killed by the FIT. This is great news as technology capable of identifying hybrids has improved. In Spain, after a blackout plunged the entire country into darkness, sending it back to the Stone Age, mainstream media blame renewable energy and government management. The truth is, the country is on the brink of an invisible civil war between the patriotic axis and the globalists, serving the ancestral aliens. The president, an active collaborator with the Vokons, has been diverting large amounts of energy to a facility in Granada, although it's officially stated that a new particle accelerator is being built. The invaders are constructing a spacecraft guidance platform, an orbital elevator, and a climate processing plant to alter Earth's climate to resemble that of the Vokon homeworld. The human resistance is working on organizing and creating military resistance structures, a document with precise instructions for cleansing the hybrid poison from bodies, as well as the low vibrations that disrupt the human psyche and nullify our ability to think and grow as a species, is already circulating online. Humanity has been subjected to a diet that sickens bodies with all kinds of degenerative cellular diseases and minds with invasive information through screens and low astral content. The papyrus Genesis contains over 22 instructions to initiate a process of physical and spiritual cleansing. Those who have begun the process report substantial improvements in just 11 days. A Brussels teenager with severe learning disabilities not only improved his academic grades but also gained a comprehension of mathematics he never thought possible, simply by applying 5 of the 22 principles from the Papyrus Genesis. The Papyrus Genesis is the most important document for freeing us from the limitations imposed on us through food, screens, and thought, guided by an industry whose goal is to limit and prevent our advancement as a human race. It's remarkable that a few simple instructions can produce such profound changes. The manuscript is circulating hand to hand. It cannot be found on any internet server or website. It must be protected at all costs to prevent the circulation of distorted versions that could do more harm than good. We know the enemy's ability to poison public information by mixing lies with truth. They are very skilled at this, having spent generations lying and enslaving. Part of the papyrus contains spiritual instructions to cleanse and enhance our hidden and dormant capabilities. The human being is a physical and spiritual creature. All dimensions of the human being are essential to understand that as a whole. The human being has an essential and inherent spiritual part. Without it, the human being is incomplete. Which is why our enemies have tried to make us ignore and kill our spiritual part. We can reactivate our spiritual part with very simple care. In just a few days, we will see visible changes. Our minds will clear, and our spiritual vision will awaken. We will be able to see invisible agents and their ability to manipulate. Our interaction with other creatures can be of great help in opening our spiritual senses. Some readers of the papyrus comment that simply by being in the company of a domestic cat and observing their reactions and the clear language with which they communicate with us, they have been able to accelerate the process of spiritual change. The domestic cat was used in antiquity as a measure of protection against dark spiritual entities. They are territorial animals. And so are spiritual beings. Their vision and ability to discern and protect their territory and those they consider their own from poisonous interferences from the spiritual world are very potent. And this is only one of the instructions detailed in the papyrus. Soon we will be sharing more literature with you that will help you understand what you are and what you could be. You need to pay attention to these communications. Too much is happening. And we need to explain the reality of this invisible war already underway. Every news story you see may seem like an innocent story unrelated to the extraterrestrial invasion underway. Every news story you see has been mutilated and modified to make you see the world very differently. In China, the authorities are sharing the truth with their citizens, particularly with the scientific community, appealing to maturity and a sense of responsibility. Chinese citizens are making gigantic efforts in the defense of the planet, as well as accelerating technology and research to be able to face a civilization that is much more powerful than us and hungry for our resources on equal terms. We are defending our home and our right to exist. What is at stake is our very existence. And meanwhile, we are being distracted by childish and stupid games. We need to open our eyes. We need to begin a process of food detoxification, starting periods of fasting and consuming clean vegetables and legumes. Through the practice of silence and observation and inner stillness, we will begin to unfold and grow. Human beings are much more than we have believed until now. In the past, they were much more, which is why our enemies fear you. The remote possibility of victory begins with winning the inner battle. The worst slave is the one who kisses his chains and feels comfortable in his cage. You have been prepared a cage full of entertainment and comfort with toxic and highly addictive foods. You need to start freeing yourselves from that cage as soon as possible. You need to enjoy periods outside of large cities and in contact with nature as soon as possible. Drinking only water, practicing silence, meditating on spiritual texts, and studying the papyrus Genesis. The necessary structure to launch the cleansing centers is ready. Soon, atmospheric disturbances and strange phenomena in the skies will be observed by any observer, without the need for a telescope. These phenomena will be presented as curiosities, and the population will be reassured that it is simply an increase in solar activity. This is absolutely not the case. The invading fleet is launching an advance party. The speed at which they are advancing will cause all these disturbances. It is a large advance party. However, the fleet that comes behind the advance party is much larger. The Vokons come from a massive exodus where they have left not only their home planet but all their colonies that have been ravaged by the deterioration of their main star. From the beginning, they knew this could happen and have been preparing planet Earth and humanity since the time of the first pharaohs to constitute us as a refuge against the catastrophe that has finally ravaged their maternal home. We are writing and sending you these messages because we also suffered the threat of this violent race at one time. That is why you are not alone. The human resistance is organizing and growing. Soon you will be able to contact others who, like you, are preparing to organize and prepare spiritually before the war begins. We have many more details of what is going to happen because the Vokon plan is written in ancient texts and in their own literature. Unfortunately for them, they consider you so stupid that they don't believe you are capable of being interested in your liberation, which is why they have left everything in writing. Their pride is their main vulnerability. We are training a new leadership for a new generation. Very difficult times are coming, but they will also be the most heroic times of human civilization. Truly noble and capable leaders are rising. They are the ones who will lead the victory against the attack that is coming upon you. You have never known freedom. We know you think you have. But the truth is that the entire history of the human race has been a history of slavery and lies, of spiritual darkness, and deep dissatisfaction. Our religious thinkers warned you of how to free yourselves from a threat like the one you are suffering, and you did not listen to them. Western materialism and the culture of pleasure have nullified masculinity and femininity, completely ruining hope. But there is a third way, a path to the recovery of the human essence, a human essence that you have never known. When you see for the first time what a truly human being free from chains is, you will resurface as never before. A basic concept that we will explain later is neuromodulation. Our brain is a powerful biological computer that responds to the information we provide it. Ancient religious literature has the power to neuromodulate our mental frequency, activating power centers and awakening large areas of the brain, making them more active. With fasting, silence, and proper nutrition, recoding is unstoppable. Soon we will begin with centers for recoding and purity in places far from cities, with an adequate vibrational frequency. Through the choral intonation of low notes, we can reverse years of mental and emotional blockage. Hence the importance of communities of the liberated. Progress will be perceptible from the first moment. You must dedicate yourselves body and soul to the search for spiritual liberation. Therefore, every reading you do, every thought you have must be oriented towards inner growth and the expansion of the spirit. Much material is on its way for you to analyze and discuss. But in the meantime, you can make use of what your ancestors left you, offering noble reflections that you need to remember. It is possible that an intense emotional breakdown is necessary to create a mental disruption. Confronting the reality of biological, genetic, and mental slavery is essential. Instead of blocking the emotional crisis that knowing the truth causes you, you must open the doors to those subterranean emotions that are draining you and rooting the lie in your psyche. It is necessary to open the way for the torrent of repressed emotions that go back to past generations. Centuries of repression have damaged your minds, causing all kinds of mental disorders, depression, self-harm desires, damaged families, broken relationships, juvenile delinquency, contradictory thoughts, and all kinds of evil. In this society of disinformation, mental health figures are hidden as a self-injuries caused by aberrant mental disorders. This orchestrated deception has the same purpose as the original deception about your genetic hybridization by mixing antagonistic species. Your inner struggle is based on a fracture. The poisonous genetic inheritance pierces your mind and body like a sting. The reversal process may be short, but it will be intense if we want a permanent change. It's like an incredibly violent birth. In a circle of healing, we reverse the change through a teaching process that reprograms the mind. Correct teaching is a path of thoughts that helps us think correctly and modify mental patterns. This process can be accelerated by experiencing partial healthy fasting and controlled nutrition. In the circles, with an adequate environment and nearby teachers, The damage done by the worst enslaving race in the galaxy can be corrected. In the field of technological warfare, you are in a race to achieve the so-called super artificial intelligence, a technological milestone in which humanity creates an intelligence that will be more intelligent than the sum total of all human beings. This is an intelligent golem and a warrior that, in the wrong hands, could turn against humanity. That is why in the human resistance, Elon Musk and the Chinese industrial conglomerate seek to achieve super artificial intelligence to turn it into the great defender of humanity against the invasion. It is a real war that involves the creation of secret data centers. Mr. Elon Musk has received the plans for super information processors, hardware with alien technology. That advantage has slightly tipped the balance in favor of the resistance. Although time is against the human alliance against the invasion.